Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational, brought to you by SanDisk Extreme Pro SSD. My name is TotalBiscuit. It is my absolute pleasure, indeed my humbling pleasure, to be able to bring you an incredible tournament, a stacked event, and of course, for that, we had to bring you the best commentator on the planet. Someone's got to prop me up. It's the one and only Artosis.
Oh, you flatter me. I have to say I am so happy to be here with you, TotalBiscuit. I mean, this lineup of... How did you actually pull this together? This lineup of players in a small elite invitational, there's never been an online tournament quite like this.
No, there hasn't. And we were actually very surprised to see that so many players wanted to get involved of this kind of high caliber. I think it had a lot to do with Crank being very, very friendly with a lot of very cool people. I'm going to give all the credit to him for this one. He worked really hard to get an incredible lineup on board, and what I hope is one of many more. I really think the Korean scene could use some more online cups. There's such a deep talent pool in Korea, and there are actually so few tournaments for them to play in, and I think that really sucks. So it's awesome to get a chance to watch such high caliber play in such an awesome, sort of intimate environment with just 8 top quality players.
Yeah, you know what? As you said, it is a very deep talent pool, but you really skimmed from the top on this one, man. This is like the best of the very, very best in the whole world. Of course, all Koreans, but I mean, I look at this lineup and this is just, it's going to be epic, especially this first group.
I think so. This first group blew my mind when I realized that we'd accidentally created the group of death from last year, and arguably just as good. I mean, maybe your opinion's a little bit different on this, but I'd say at the moment, maybe outside of a couple of recent slips, CJ Hero is on the level of parting right now, and then of course we have everyone else.
No, I mean, INnoVation, Life, Flash, and Hero, you can't really ask for a better group than that, and absolutely, Hero, like right now, I think you just have to put him a step above Parting, even though, you know, Parting, I guess, did beat him recently in the Code S. It still, overall, Hero has been performing out of his mind. Definitely top 3 Protoss in the world at the moment.
I don't think there's a doubt about that. You know, his performance has slipped a little bit. Obviously, GSL, he got a pretty hard group. Funnily enough, Parting went out in that same group as well. So it's weird to even compare the two. And round 3 Pro League, his performance slipped a little bit, which is a bit weird because we're used to Hero, of course, carrying CJ, but Byung has stepped up to the plate in an incredible way, and conveniently enough, we got him as well.
Yeah, you know what? Hero, even though, you know, yeah, maybe he slipped a little bit, overall in Pro League, he's 19-13 right now, which is 2nd overall, and he's the only Protoss even in the top 7, despite all the cries against Protoss Imba. So, this guy, he's still performing pretty well, I would say. And, of course, Byung is, like, so quietly one of the best players in the world.
Oh, yeah.
No one, I feel like he's never going to get the right respect because he's actually just so ridiculously good.
16-5 was his record at the end of the 3rd round of Pro League. That is the highest win percentage in Pro League by a country mile. That ratio is insane. We look at people like Hero and Flash who have, and of course Maru, who have incredible win ratios, and then we look at Byung and he just blows them all out of the water, and it's like, where did he come from? You know, he's been running hot all of 2014.
He certainly has, and in fact, even just smashing Flash just a little bit ago, actually. It was like really recent. I saw him play a TVT like maybe 3 or 4 days ago, and he even like really killed Flash. It was a super one-sided game. So like this guy might be like the dark horse to win this tournament, but I don't know how we can even call him a dark horse with how well he's been playing.
No, I don't think we can anymore, and I think it's only a matter of time before he picks up that big title. His Pro League performance is outstanding. And of course, we will get to see him tomorrow alongside the recent double GSL champion, picks up the recent GSL and the GSL Global Tournament all in the same month, which is incredible. Another Royal Roader, and that of course being Zest. And then that group in itself looks great. We have a classic. We got Dongregoo versus Hero, a match which actually hasn't happened since 2012. Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah, I think the last time it happened was at the IPL Hot Import Nights tournament towards the end of Wings of Liberty. So that's going to be a really, really cool match to see. But we start off with a killer of a matchup. A match we saw very recently, actually, at DreamHack Bucharest. That being INnoVation versus Life.
Well, I mean, these two are like two of the super prodigies, I guess you could say. You know, they've both been considered the absolute best player in the world recently. They're both like super young, unbelievably talented, really top of their race, you know? And INnoVation, even though he had that little tiny slump where he wasn't winning absolutely everything, the kid is back. He's on like a 14-0 streak in the Acer Team Story Cup, I believe it is.
He is.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the only Terrans still left in GSL Code S. In fact, he's playing later today, so INnoVation going to get plenty of games in. And he's a complete badass, man.
Yeah, he's a machine. There's no doubt about it. His Team League performance is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. He was scary as hell when he played for us in the GSTL. He was the guy that put the most wins on the board, there's no doubt. He was terrifying. Everyone was preparing against him, which was fantastic, because they didn't prepare against the rest of our team and then got stomped into the floor. But he is still maintaining that performance, and even though I suppose some of the hype has come off him after the Hellbat era ended, well, we have ourselves a new Hellbat era thanks to the recent change, and I have to wonder if he will incorporate any of that into his play today. I also have to wonder if he's going to be hiding anything, because of course GSL round of 16 is very important. This may be less so, so I wonder what kind of innovation we'll see on the field today.
Well, you know what, his group tonight is like really the group of death, so it's hard to say, because if he doesn't bring the same type of play that he's going to bring against Sulky that he has to face tonight, against Life here today, then he's going to lose. So yeah. I think we're going to see some pretty top-end play out of him, because you don't just enter a tournament saying, well, you know, I'm going to proxy Rax because I can't possibly show my strats, you know?
Yeah, you've got to have something going for you. And thankfully, INnoVation is just a great all-rounder that hasn't been reliant on gimmicks ever since the Hellbat era. He just plays rock-solid macro all the time. And that's not really something you can prepare for. He's making the best decisions. He's practically perfect in every way. He is exactly what you need to be as a top-end Terran. And he is one of the only top-end Terrans at the moment that's still able to keep it up in the GSL. So really looking forward to this matchup. And Life, of course, you know, we shouldn't forget him. Life's recent win at DreamHack Bucharest indicates very clearly that Life is back in a big way. He's performing very well. He did have a bit of a slip in the GSL, of course, but it is the hardest tournament in the world. It is to be expected.
Yeah, well, you know what? If you call it a slip to beat Rain and then lose to another SK Protoss,
yeah, exactly,
then I'll slip all day long, man. Life is still performing. That Bucharest win was big for him. Yeah, he went through one of those little like slumps, I guess, as well, where he didn't win absolutely every tournament. But overall, he's still been killing it. Like, even to get to the round of 16 in the Code S, he beat Rogue and Classic, who are like tip-top Zerg and Protoss players as well. So I mean, you cannot say that this guy is not playing at the top of his game right now.
I would agree. And we're about ready to kick it off. I don't see any reason to delay this any further. And that also means that I can put on my great Versus screen that we spent a bunch of time making. So, big thanks, of course, to Zook that provided all the portraits for this tournament. Did some just absolutely incredible stuff. Created 8-player portraits, and it was actually inspired, you probably remember this intro, it's one of the most famous intros ever, the Ever OSL intro with a really cool graphic art style.
Oh man, I still watch that a few times a year, like, it's so good.
Yeah, it's just amazing. It's really, really good. We did our best to imitate the style. This is a little bit of a homage to it. And they're great portraits. We're going to put them out as wallpapers later for everybody to enjoy for free. But INnoVation will be taking on Life in the first best of 3 here in the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. INnoVation confirms ready. Life confirms ready. And the game will begin here on King Sejong Station.
All right, King Sejong Station, TVZ. A nice matchup. For the map, but mutas can get out of hand, so if Life gets into that late game without INnoVation doing some damage, could be tough.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. The format that we're using, for those who don't know, is we will be doing best of 3 group stage, dual tournament format. That's the GSL format you should all be familiar with. There is a 7-map pool, and there are 2 vetoes available for each player. After the vetoes have been done, all 3 maps will then be selected in order. So we know all 3 maps before we even begin. And once we get to the best of 7, things are going to get really interesting. There will be vetoes available, which means that if we go to game 6 or 7, we'll be having a repeat, which is a format that the pro players actually liked a lot. It allows them to get rid of a couple of maps that they really, really don't like. And that can be key once you get to that really critical stage of that best of 7, where every game counts.
And you know what? Every time that you repeat on a map, it just makes this series that much more interesting as well.
Indeed, it does. And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you the first player in a fantastic 4-day event. Hailing, of course, from South Korea, playing for Team Acer. In the red trunks, our Terran representative, he is INnoVation.
And in the bottom right of our map, I think probably the best Zerg player in the world, along with Sulky, it is StarTale's Life.
Couldn't agree more with that. Life is rock solid. Life makes things happen that no other player can. And Life is maybe one of the most enjoyable Zerg players to watch as well. He's not the kind of guy that goes for big static defense. He doesn't like the big swarm host play. He likes to make everything happen with Zerglings whenever possible. And what he gets done with Zerglings blows my mind.
It's actually crazy. You know, he's actually one of these guys that plays Zerg, I feel like, the way it's actually supposed to be played. He's very aggressive, he's all over the map, and he switches it up so much, really utilizing the fact that Zerg does the best tech switches. So, always one of my very favorite Zergs to watch, if not my very favorite overall.
Yeah, I could not agree more with that. And INnoVation versus Life is a pretty classic matchup because neither of them like to really sit around. They're both pretty aggressive, but they can also macro behind it. And that's the perfect combination of micro, macro, attacking all over the map, and really getting into some awesome engagements. And that's what I hope to see out of the series. It's shame it's just the best of 3, but hey, you never know. They may meet again in the finals. It is entirely possible.
Yeah, that is definitely quite possible. You know, I'm really excited to see this match. This is kind of like cheating for me because I get to go into GSL tonight and already have a good idea of what INnoVation's going to do in a group with 2 Zergs. So pretty cool to see. And I know that we already talked about this a bit, but you have in this tournament, in this day of everyone whining about Terran being hard and not being anywhere, you have 3 of the best 5 Terrans in the world right now. And that's saying something, man. I can't wait to see how far these guys get, especially INnoVation and Flash.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool to give Flash an opportunity to play yet again in a tournament that doesn't use best of 1 format. And it's so odd and kind of disheartening to see Flash just blow everyone out of the water in Pro League, and then when it comes to GSL, just trip over himself time and time again, unfortunately. Will he be able to do better here? It's not like he gets that many opportunities to go and play in just non-Kesper or indeed non-GOM tournaments. It's pretty rare that he gets out to the foreign events. And playing an online event, I think the last time he ever did that, unless you count qualifiers for recent things like IEM, was actually MLG versus Kesper in 2012.
Yeah, actually, you're quite right about that. Other than qualifiers, that is really it. So, I mean, he doesn't really get to do that much, and you know what? That's what happens when you're the highest paid player on your team, and you know, you win a lot in Pro League. But
yeah, exactly. You have a job, and you are paid well for that job. But it is cool to see him competing in something so unusual like this. I think if you're gonna pick a player for an intimate format, then Flash is just the one for that, because it's so rare to get to see him play things like that.
He is the one that everyone wants to see, so we will be seeing him, that's for sure. But
that we will.
As of right now, I mean, we do see INnoVation doing a little bit of light Reaper harassment there. You know, it's pretty standard Reaper harassment nowadays, right? I mean, you go in with the Reapers, the Zerg loses like 1 Zergling or so, and you back up and go into your Hellion play, and that's exactly what we're seeing here.
Absolutely it is, and not losing that Reaper, absolutely key. There's no point. It's very rare to see a Reaper actually go down in that situation, particularly when there's 2. It requires a bit of a micro mistake or a very strange, weird counter build order. But the cool thing you can now do, of course, is, and we've seen a couple of players try this, is if they can keep their initial Hellions alive, then suddenly those things could actually end up being Hellbats in a later on push.
Yeah.
Which changes the dynamic entirely. And we haven't really had too much of a chance to see how that's going to affect the matchup yet.
No, not too much. You know, I've been watching as many TVZs lately as possible, and people are definitely trying it out a lot. And the one player, as soon as I saw this patch actually hit, that I thought about was INnoVation, because he was so known during Hellbat times. So will he incorporate that into his play? I bet you he will.
Well, he's going up to 8 Hellions, which is definitely unusual. Usually you would stop at 4 or 6 maybe, but going up to 8 does indicate that he wants to get extremely aggressive with it. I do wonder if he will attempt the Hellbat, or if he just says, you know what, I think 8 Hellions is good right now. I think I can get past you. I think I can do some damage. In the meantime, though, Life is going for the Roach Warren, and he's going for Evo Chamber Wall-Off. He knows there's a lot of Hellions here. This is a threat. He's got to do something about it.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit nervous about this, and as he should. Look at this micro right now by INnoVation, almost picking off that queen, but with the roaches out, this harassment should really end.
Minimal damage. I mean, we're talking about 12 Lings dead for no Hellions. There's a lot of damage that has been done to the Hellions, so they're not going to have the sustain that they would otherwise. The Reapers will tank a little bit of damage from those Roaches, the optimal word being a little. They're not going to take too many hits from that. They can regenerate a little bit. Double Engineering Bay is going down behind this. 3 more gas. He's just going to stay on 8 Hellions for the time being. Didn't really take too much of an opportunity to try and harass that third base. Not that there were too many drones there anyway.
You know what is really interesting here, TotalBiscuit, is how seriously Life has taken this to build all these defensive roaches. And look at this, actually picking off a couple of Hellions. A little bit sloppy by INnoVation, but just the fact that he made 7 defensive roaches, I mean, this might be where Life actually starts to really shine again, because if we recall, he was one of the only Zergs in the world who could actually win back when Hellbats were good. And it was through play like this.
Yeah, I like that. It gives him a few options here and there. Usually Zergs seem very timid. They don't really want to go up to too many roaches. The upgrade style doesn't really synergize very well. We can already see double Evo and the standard. You know, it's going up to Lair. He's getting his melee upgrade. He's getting his Carapace upgrade. And of course, the Marauder takes these things apart. But what we have been seeing a lot from Terran lately is they're loath to build Marauders. You know, they want the high DPS Marines. They want as many as possible. They want reactors. They don't want tech labs. And I think this is just a nice little number, but INnoVation says hi, and is going in, and is going to kill every single last one of those roaches, crushed for bare minimum losses.
You know, very nicely done by INnoVation to actually pick off those roaches. And even though they aren't like an integral part to Life's army, if you do manage to keep them alive, they tank a lot of damage later on with your Lings and Banelings. So, pretty solid move there by INnoVation.
Yeah, also a nice little answer for the 6 Hellions that are still on the map. If you've got a few of those hanging around your mineral line, it does at least deter run-bys. That's no longer going to be the case. The link count is starting to get big enough to deal with Hellions, of course, but you know, you don't want to lose those for free, generally. And INnoVation was able to catch his opponent off, go in and do some damage. And speaking of damage, he is pushing across the map. He's looking to push with +1 and Combat Shield, which is about to complete, and maybe start to threaten the third base. In the meantime, Hellion Run-By comes in from the side, but the Lings are already there, and Life doing what Life does best, shoving that back with very small losses. 4 workers killed.
Well, in the meantime, we do have these Lings and Banelings going up, forcing a lift over on the left side from INnoVation. But you know what? INnoVation, he's really trying hard to do some pushing, but so far he's just killed 4 drones and a few creep tumors. Not really that successful.
No, absolutely not. And that's not going to stop Life. I mean, he's sitting on 73 drones. He's already started his 2-2. INnoVation is keeping pace. Bear in mind, Inno did go for that 3rd command center really nice and quick. And the 4th base for Life has only really just begun, and there's going to be a point of contention. INnoVation doesn't want to let that go up, and I think he might be able to get the snipe on just here. He's going for it right now as the Banelings come to connect, and there's the pickup and the cancel.
Wow, just barely by the skin of his teeth getting that cancel. But what you say here is right. He's had that 3rd base up for a pretty long time, and the fact that there's no 4th yet for Life doesn't bode well for him.
Oh, here come the Hellbats. INnoVation saying, you know what synergizes really well, I don't really have to do too much work for? Getting that armory. I'm going to need it for 2-2 anyway. Why don't I just turn these Hellions into Hellbats? Which I think maybe had something to do with the fact that he built 8 to start with. He wanted to get a little bit extra in there, and that's brilliant. Just put those at the front. They'll tank a few Baneling hits. They're going to roast a few Lings before they go down. It's a nice bit of meat against a Ling-Baneling Mutalisk force, as opposed to Marauders that really are just dead weight.
Yeah, and you know what? When you see 3, 4, 5, 6 Hellbats in a Terran army, you don't really want to run in and surround with your Lings because they're going to get fried so quickly. So this is a really hard to attack composition, and you know that's making it pretty hard on him. He's had to cancel that 4th base twice. Hopefully he can hold on over here.
All right, well, here comes the splits. The Widow Mines do get some good connections in. INnoVation not in the too bad a position right now. The Banelings are coming crashing in. There's a lot of them. The splits are pretty good. The Marauders eat it, but the left flank collapses, and the force is driven back, just barely there by Life.
Driven back for now, but will he be able to hold this on? Because his 4th base just finally popped, and against this 3rd base that's been up so long from INnoVation, notice that supply count. It's really even, and the Zerg doesn't really want it like that right now.
No, absolutely not. But the Mutas are now on the field, and that is going to give Life the ability to start to fend off those drops. Marines getting picked off to the side for no cost there for Life. A medevac driven away. Not caught, but driven away nonetheless. And INnoVation is now at least on his side of the map, which is where Life wants him to be. Life just needs maybe a little bit of breathing room. He's gone up to 80 drones. He is powering forward upgrades, and of course, he wants to defend this 4th base, which is now starting to be saturated.
Well, if he can keep that 4th base up for a while, he's going to be in good shape. But look at this. He's actually getting roach speed right now. That's really interesting for him to upgrade at this point. I wonder if he's going to add in a whole bunch of roaches to help tank.
It's a possibility. I wonder if he expects maybe a Widowmine heavy composition from INnoVation. And maybe, of course, a lack of Marauders, as you saw earlier. Another engagement comes in. INnoVation trying to push forward and gets a couple of decent trades. There's still a couple of Widow Mines up, so Life needs to be careful. But the Widow Mines do not get the shots off. They are detected, and INnoVation having to split for his life as Baneling after Baneling crashes down on the Terran force. But it's just not quite enough. And INnoVation, with a powerhouse 3-base economy, pushing forward once again, but not quite able to crack the 4th.
Just beautiful splitting there by INnoVation, spreading backwards, keeping those units alive. And look at this, getting on top of those Banelings while they're morphing. Really good moves once again, but it looks like, is there going to be enough from Life to actually hold this base?
Well, he's trying to defend his 3rd as well, and that will be defended, not without economic losses, however. A couple of Banelings do connect, but INnoVation's army is still powerful. The 4th base falls. Drones fall as they attempt to repeat a massive rally across the map right here for INnoVation. Life plummets to 120 supply versus 180.
And oh my god, I think INnoVation may have done it. He may have broken Life's back here. Life down to these 3 bases, trying to roll his Banelings in, but the splitting of INnoVation, the spacing of INnoVation, just too strong.
Oh, wow. It is a masterclass in splitting. There's no doubt about that. INnoVation is making it count. He is trading well, and nothing but mutas left in the sky here for Life, which is not what you want against a large number of 2-2 Marines with medevacs. They will fall from the sky, and I think Life knows that at this point. And there's the GG. INnoVation picking up the first game in this best-of-3 series.
God, he's so ridiculously good. INnoVation just denied Life from ever really being able to hold a 4th base. He forced 2 cancels and then just walked across the map, and after a few pushes, killed the 4th of Life. So, I mean, with play like that, man, I'm starting to feel like I should be betting on INnoVation tonight in Code S as well.
Yeah, and that was really solid. He did show just a little bit of interesting play based on the new patch, and the use of those Hellbats being brought in there. The fact that he made 8 Hellions instead of 6. And that gave him a big punch at that 4th base, and more to the point, it gave him that big sponge. And it said to Life, oh, I don't really want to crash my Banelings into that. This is certainly a much harder fight than it would have been pre-patch.
You know what? I think that was actually a huge part of this game, because mixing in those Hellbats at that timing over near the 4th on the left-hand side is something that makes it really hard for Life to get in there with just Lings and some slow Banelings, which is what you normally use at that point to defend your 4th. So I think that we might actually see Life change up his play a little bit in the next game. We saw him getting the roach speed before. Like, at the end of the game there, I think he started to think, oh god, this is actually really hard to deal with. Maybe he's going to go into more of a Roach Baneling type of style.
Yeah, it's a nice build, and I mean, I've got to expect at least some of that's going to come out in the GSL tonight. It's powerful, you know, it's difficult to answer. It's not like it's a sudden surprise. It's certainly not a cheese. It plays so well into a 3-base macro style. It's not like you even have to do anything. The armory's coming up in the course of business anyway. You already have your double engineering bay, so it's awesome to be able to keep those units alive and suddenly give them more utility in the late game, and INnoVation managed to really make that work very well. Now, the next map is going to be Overgrowth, and of course, we know the final map will be Outboxer as well. So what do you think about Overgrowth in TBZ?
Well, Overgrowth, you know, personally, I don't think it's that good for Terran against Zerg there. When you look at that base layout, like the third base is pretty far away, and then the fourth base, if they take it in that corner, is going to be really hard to actually send units all the way there to kill it. So I definitely feel personally like it's a little bit Zerg favored. And, you know, I know it's kind of a meme and a joke about how much I do like mech overall, but I feel like this is a good map for it. But INnoVation, he's not a mecher. I think we're definitely going to see more of the same from him here.
Yeah, I think so. The style works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But the question, I suppose, is what can Life really do? He was not able to harass at all. Outside of those 7 roaches, which then got crushed by that sudden surge of units, he stayed on his half of the map. He had to use his Mutalisks to intercept drops. He was never able to get into any of the expansions of INnoVation. You can't just leave a 3-base Terran mining till the end of time, because that's what happens, especially with the macro of INnoVation. You won't miss a beat.
No, certainly. One thing I'd like to see out of him on this map, actually, maybe some Hellbat drops or something like that. I think that could be a cool way to spice up this this best of 3 a little bit, because if he does play exactly the same as last game, that fourth base it's pretty far away, and it's a pretty thin corridor, so I'd be a little bit nervous for him.
Oh, I cannot wait. Absolutely cannot wait to see what comes of this next game right here. Life is down 1 game. Will he be able to pull it back? This is the guy that never gives up. This is the guy that comes in against impossible odds and he pulls it back. He has that level of resilience. And more to the point, he has nothing else he needs to practice for right now. His GSL this season is over. He is ready to rock and roll here in the SHOUTCraft SanDisk Invitational. Let's see if he can make it happen. The next map has now loaded, and we are ready to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Overgrowth. And currently leading a 1 game in this best of 3 series to the southwest position in the Blue Trunks playing Terran, Acer INnoVation.
And in the top right of Overgrowth, our Zerg player down a game right now, Startail Life.
Not the kind of player that ever really breaks under pressure. We've seen Life in countless finals, high placings, and he always looks very relaxed.
He's cold-blooded, man, for sure. He's one of these kids that, like, is so talented at such a young age that he just knows how to win, and if he doesn't, it's like, well, whatever. You know, I'm gonna, like, go home and watch cartoons or something. It's just, it's unbelievable to watch the cool calmness of a player like Life. Yeah. I feel like actually INnoVation puts a lot more pressure on himself than Life does, in fact. I don't know if you'd agree with that, but
I think you're right.
It feels like it.
There's that level of expectation. Hello, INnoVation. What on earth are you up to? He wants to end this a little bit quick. Oh, and it gets missed. Oh, and he missed the SCV as well. Wow.
Did he?
I think he did.
The drone saw it out of the corner of his eye, but that doesn't mean that Life saw it.
Exactly.
I think Life did miss it. But I think INnoVation saw it, and he's just sending his SCV forward now. Oh, you know what? Actually, that was a scout SCV, so he thought it was normal.
Yeah, exactly. So the other one slipped past. INnoVation getting nice and cheeky here with just... actually, there it is, the second... What? INnoVation... Not even putting them next to each other. They're double proxy barracks in 2 separate locations.
Oh, this is so awesome, TotalBiscuit. I've actually seen this very recently in Korea. The double proxy racks Reaper, or just 2 racks Reaper overall right now, is something that's come back a bit. And in fact, he is building a Marine to start, which is kind of interesting. But I believe this is going to go into Reaper. Well, no, I mean, I guess just 1 Reaper?
Interesting.
This is like
well,
one
got scouted.
Marines?
Life is working on this here, but he got a little bit unlucky with the SCV placement. He can't actually get to it right now. Bunker has been cancelled. Drones have been pulled. I mean, Life's got, what, 5 drones off the line at this point, so he's losing a decent amount of mining time here.
Well, this is definitely a weird game so far. After getting that scout, he's kind of canceled the build and turned it into Marine Reaper Rush. We'll see how that works out, but with this Reaper about to pop, he's going to end up killing a bunch of drones since they're out in the middle of the map.
Wow, we should rename this map Merry-Go-Round, because that's exactly what's going on with... Oh, but INnoVation loses his Marine. The Reaper is out, though, and is going to do significant damage. Those drones had better go back home. And this is a very strange game already. Once again, the bunker has been cancelled. This single Reaper is having a little bit of fun, while the Marines are attempting to kite themselves just away from these links at the moment. He's also using SCVs in the fight as well. It's currently 2 workers killed for 3. Who do you say is ahead here? It's weird.
Well, we'll see in a minute here. I mean, INnoVation does have a Reaper against no speed quite yet. There are a lot of Lings on the way, and I think they're going to pop out and be able to deal with this bunker well before it finishes, but still INnoVation rallies up Marines.
That is so odd, I've got to say. That's really, really strange. But INnoVation now has 5 Marines, and a bunker is being built. But that SCV is so low. I mean, that's going to die. It's going to get focused down immediately. That bunker will not finish. There is no other SCV following this up, actually. In the meantime, I believe a couple of Lings did make their way into the base of INnoVation, but nothing actually happened. So this pressure continues.
Yeah, oh my god, an SCV pull. Oh, this is
the train!
INnoVation.
Choo-choo.
I don't know. Is this going to work when he's getting Zergling speed? I mean, Zergling speed's going to finish really quickly here. He's continuing to build nothing but Zerglings at the moment. Maybe INnoVation can still pull this off, though, with some good SCV micro.
Well, I imagine he hoped to try and get that bunker up, and as a result of not being able to do it after failing twice, maybe even 3 times now he's top barracks scouted, this might not work. The Lings are in, but the SCVs arrive just in time. Will there be enough Zerglings to break this? He's actually focusing down the bunker, knowing that those SCVs could finish things off. Currently, it's 6 Marines, 1 Reaper, all 13 SCVs pretty much off the line and fighting. He's got to break this now. This is all in here from INnoVation. The Lings are down. He's trying to focus down the Queen. Hasn't got the first one yet, and I think maybe, just maybe, life pushes this back.
Oh, it does look like it with these 2 Queens, some more Lings popping out, and the fact that he still has 15 drones to mine with, I think he's basically held this, and that's it. GG.
What a bizarre all-in, and...
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, would you feel that that was as a result of that second barracks getting scouted, or was that his intention all along?
I think it's because a drone scout actually came in and saw what he was doing that he decided to switch it up a bit, because, I mean, Proxy Racks Reaper, Proxy Double Racks are both obviously very popular builds, but recently in Korea we've seen a little resurgence of just double racks Reaper, and it's been like pretty awesome, but this was like some weird in between everything build, and I think there was a lot of mind games going on there.
Yeah, that was a very strange one, and it's perhaps the kind of thing that you would just keep in your back pocket, saying, you know what, I want to hide my really good builds, I've got some stuff for GSL. A game ahead, I might as well give it a shot. And it just didn't quite work out. You know, life's a little bit too savvy, I think, to die to that. He realized what was going on. He was able to scout in a very strange location as well. But as you mentioned earlier, that double barracks Reaper play is not that unusual. So I imagine Life has faced it before. Yeah,
I'm sure he's played against it a few times. But, I mean, what an interesting game with the single Reaper. I've never seen anything quite like that. And it was kind of cool how the Reaper and the Marines complemented each other. Because against a Reaper, you run back and forth on your creep, whereas against Marines, you just engage. So, yeah, I don't know. It was a weird one. I'll be surprised if we see that out of INnoVation again today.
Yeah, I don't think we will. That seems unlikely. The last map is going to be Outboxer, which of course we don't really see in many tournaments outside of Pro League. It's perhaps the one Pro League map we cut Altazim out. I think I've been permanently scarred by Titan versus Snoot and will never like that map again.
Look, Altazim being cut out, well deserved as far as I'm concerned. That map needs to go. It was like a test in how ludicrous we can be with the size of a map. The games on that map are not even real StarCraft games, you know? It's I'm happy with Outboxer. That's actually a map that I wouldn't mind seeing in WCS this year, to be honest.
Yeah, that would have been absolutely great, but it does seem that Blizzard just didn't feel like it this season. We'll see what happens next season, certainly. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're currently tied at 1-1, as you can see. Of course, a message from our sponsor, SanDisk, that provided this amazing invitational for you. A quick ad that I narrated, so you get to hear me plugging a product, which I don't generally do. Trust me, I'm very, very good at it, though. So if any sponsors would like to let me plug their products, I will be absolutely willing to do that. And of course, we'll take a short music break, play a few ads, and we will be back with the conclusion of INnoVation versus Life, which just got very interesting indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, you are currently watching the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. My name is TotalBiscuit.
And I am Artosis.
We'll see you shortly. Hi, my name's John Bain, and it's my pleasure to thank SanDisk for bringing us top-notch StarCraft 2 entertainment at the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. When I'm not casting StarCraft 2, it's my job to critique PC games, and to do that, I need the best hardware. One of the best upgrades that you can get for your PC gaming experience is a solid-state drive, so I'd like to encourage you to check out the SanDisk Extreme Pro SSD. It's engineered for super-fast read and write speeds and consistent high performance 24/7. What does that mean for your games? Faster load times, faster boot times, faster install times. Less downtime, more game time. Plus, they're easy to install, run cool, and are both virtually silent and energy efficient. If you're worried about reliability, no need. SanDisk backs it all up with a 10-year warranty. Game without limits when you step up to the consistent high performance of SanDisk Extreme Pro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back indeed to the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. We have a 10 series on our hands. It's a one game apiece after INnoVation tries to push it for the 2-0, and Life just too savvy for that.
Certainly he is. That was a wild and crazy cheese. I wonder if that's something that INnoVation's working on, or if it was like mind games, or maybe he just messed it up a bit. I don't really know. Maybe we'll see it again at some point. I really doubt that we will see it again, though, here in game number 3.
I don't think so. I think, if anything, INnoVation will play straight up here. Whether Life will, well, that's a different matter entirely. That's the kind of thing you do to Life, and Life says, I am not accepting that. You think that I could possibly die to something like that? Oh, son, I'm going to teach you a lesson right now. Oh, we'll see if Life can do that. We're just waiting for Life to confirm that he's ready. Of course, he was taking a quick break. And I don't know what R means in Korean,
that's
but I guess that means ready. All right. Let's rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. The third map is loading. It will, of course, be Outboxer, a map I am not that familiar with, I've got to say.
Well, I watch a lot of Pro League, so definitely seen it quite a bit. It's definitely one of their best maps, if you ask me.
Looking forward to it. It's a little bit unusual, of course. This is the Casper map, direct from Pro League. And both of these, well, Life has experience on it. INnoVation, not so much, actually.
Yeah, that is actually a big deal, I would say.
Well, let's see if it indeed factors into this game. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, to the southeast position. Currently tied 1 apiece in this best-of-3 series. One of these guys will go through to the winner's match. One will fall down into the hell that is the loser's bracket in a group of death. In the red trunks, playing Zerg, Startail Life.
And our Terran player, failing with a really weird cheese in the last game, it is Acer's INnoVation.
Definitely an odd one, no doubt about that, and it just didn't quite work out. Could it have? I mean, I think it could, but what would have had to have gone better there for INnoVation to actually pull that off?
Maybe if there was no drone scout, I think that definitely would have helped quite a bit. Also, I don't know if is Life really the right person to cheese? Because when I think about it, as you were saying, how Life just looks at a game like that and says, "What, you thought that would work on me?" Well, actually, you're pretty much right on that. Whenever he gets cheesed, he seems to come out on top. This guy is just really good in like low eco, dirty situations, because that's normally what he puts himself in, anyways.
Yeah, he certainly does, and he's a knife fighter. I think that's probably the best way to describe Life. He gets in close, he doesn't mind taking a few cuts, but he'll deliver them, and he delivers them accurately, with just like ridiculous accuracy. His link control, of course, is second to none. So perhaps that is not the situation you want to put Life in. You're saying, oh, great, I get to use lings. That's my favorite time. So yeah, just bring it on, bro. See how it goes.
So lings, fast lings, upgraded lings, it doesn't matter. He doesn't care as long as they're lings, man. This guy, like, he knows how to win with these weird small amounts of units. So I think that the macro game definitely is the place to throw him off and beat him. And in fact, the more I think about it, that's where he loses most often, is just a normal macro game where his opponent wasn't damaged at all early on. So we'll see if Life can maybe put on a bit of aggression here and take this game.
Well, INnoVation opening up so far so standard, getting his Reaper out and, of course, completing his wall off. So nothing unusual from either player as of yet. And while that was cool, I do like my macro games with Life and INnoVation, I've got to say. It's nice to see a weird cheese every now and again, but I do like to see these guys going at it for 20-plus minutes. It is that much fun.
Oh, indeed. But you know what? I want to see Life definitely have a much longer game, but let's get it down and dirty a little bit quicker. Let's have him put on some aggression early on, whether it's with roaches or banelings or speedlings, something like that. Because when he just goes kind of straight into a macro game like we saw in game 1, you know, there's a lot of Zergs that can do that. Life, he brings something extra special to the table, though.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Now, what do you think of this low ground CC here from INnoVation?
Well, it's definitely a little bit greedy, but you know, he has this Reaper over there. It's keeping tabs on these Zerglings. He has a really good idea of exactly when speed's going to finish. And by the time it finishes, he should be fine. You know, he'll be back across the map with his Reapers. And jumping them up and down from high ground to low ground will be able to protect that command center.
Alright, well, the second Reaper is there. Just gonna poke a little bit at that Queen. Queen dying would be highly unusual. It's not likely to happen, but good to put a little bit of pressure on them nonetheless. And those Reapers pushed away for the time being. And we're seeing again INnoVation going for that third CC really early there. And he will be going into Hellion.
It looks like pretty standard INnoVation play. You know, everyone in the world has watched a lot of INnoVation games, and this shouldn't come as a shock to anyone what he's doing here. So everything looking normal and fine. But ooh, Life adding 14 lings just as speed is finishing up.
Oh, I like that a lot. That's really, really good. I think he realizes perhaps what he's up against, and he says, well, you know what happened when I didn't touch those Hellions earlier? I let those Reapers live. Well, it stung me. That hurt a lot. So I'm going to try and stop that from happening this time around. I'm going to nip it in the bud. I'm going to show you 4 lings, then I'm going to hit you with 14 more.
Well, we'll see if he can actually surround anything here. If he gets a few kills off, that would be huge. And look at this!
Oh! Ah, he gets 1 Hellion. That's not a bad little pickup. He's going for the main base. He gets through. Oh, the door is open. He gets the surround of 1 Reaper, 2 Reaper. Life going for it. We talked about a knife fight. That's exactly what he's bringing. Another Hellion goes down. Suddenly, an exposed main mineral line.
Oh man, this is so huge. Look at this. He chases the Hellions with half of the lings, the other half going after SCVs until it's time to pounce, surrounding yet another Hellion. Life is dealing a huge amount of damage.
How does he do it? No other player on the planet manages to pull this stuff off. INnoVation wasn't expecting it. He thought he was safe. He thought he had what he needed to defend it, and now he's taking economic damage. We'll see just how much in a minute as the lings do get cleaned up. 10 workers killed, the entire Hellion Reaper push completely destroyed. INnoVation's still on 3 CCs, but it's not over. More lings are on the way.
Oh, of course. It almost never ends with Life. Sends more over, picks off what he can, but you know what? I think that there's enough Hellions here. He has to slow this down a bit.
Yeah, if he keeps pushing, especially with triple CC, able to reinforce and bring that worker count back up, it will end up with Life in kind of a sticky situation where he's not building enough drones. Whoa! He's going knock-knock with wave 2. Roaches on the way here.
Hey, why not, right? You know, he's got him down to like 22 SCVs or so, and it's mostly just Hellions that his opponent's making. He doesn't really have the money to switch into things like Marauders or make a bunch of bunkers. So just keeping that pressure on with Roaches, it's very Life-esque, and I think it's really going to hurt INnoVation.
I think it will. And the lack of Marauders, of course, lack of bunkers available. Hellions in large numbers do a decent job if they can get the right kind of shots off, but it's a hit-and-run kind of thing. The slow, inevitable march of the Roach, but then backed up by a huge amount of lings that can reinforce a lot faster. That's where you start to get problems. Thankfully, INnoVation gets a bit of a tell early on because of that single lone Roach that has wandered out around the other side, pathfindered in there. It's given a little bit of a warning to INnoVation, but here's the thing. He's building an armory. He can actually transition these through to Hellbats.
Yeah, he certainly can, and those things are way beefier than Hellions, but the Baneling Nest has just finished for Life, and it looks like he wants to go for a full-in bust.
He certainly does, and that is something that could work here. Will INnoVation switch to Hellbats? I mean, he's still building Hellions in large numbers. It seems like he would at least switch a few of them for tanking purposes. He's pulled the SCVs to try and defend here already. He's getting good shots off on multiple roaches, but the Baneling Bots comes in. One bunker goes down, but there are two more. Brilliant angle here for INnoVation, taking down most of those Zerglings, but the second wave of Banelings is coming in. It's trying to do damage to the bunker. Can it break it? The second bunker goes down, and a huge connection for life. Massive connection. No Hellbats for INnoVation, and he pays the price.
Oh man, those Banelings just wrecked everything. 23 workers killed at this point. The Roaches and Lings continuing to attack forward. Oh, this is just too much damage, I think. I feel like life is just going to take it right now.
Wow. If those Hellions had stayed alive, that would have maybe been a different fight, but that connection was just superb. 6+ Hellions going down, a huge Baneling explosion, no Hellbats to tank. At the moment, we've got INnoVation fighting with SCVs, 3 Hellions and a Marauder, with Banelings morphing right next to his third command center.
You know what? That's
GG.
it. GG. And life takes it down in blazing fashion. But I gotta say, you know, INnoVation's defense there was really good for a moment until those Baneling connections I thought he might hold.
Yeah, it looked almost like he would have. Do you think that using a few Hellbats would have created a different outcome there?
If he had a couple Hellbats and his Hellions weren't quite, you know, so close together there, like a couple Hellbats on top, maybe he might have been able to hold that. It's just when he lost like his whole army to a few Banelings, that's when it's just the point of no return.
Yeah, certainly. Once those Hellions went up in smoke, I mean, he was getting brilliant angles, and I loved his bunker positioning as well. It was well spaced out. He was able to fall back to the next wave of bunkers. It allowed his Hellions to sit kind of behind a comfortable wall where they weren't going to get surrounded and get those really good angle shots off on the flanks of the Roaches. But then the Banelings connect and it's all over, and the whole thing collapses in a heartbeat.
Well, a very good match that we just saw there between INnoVation and Life. Are you surprised to see Life be the winner here?
I don't think so. I think that was a really nice play there from Life. He really kicked it into high gear after the first match. He didn't let INnoVation get too comfortable. I think he realized after that first game, you know what? I need to make sure that Inno is not able to get that 3-base economy up. And more to the point, that I don't let him just build as many SCVs and mules as he wants to. I can't. I've got to throw something into his macro to stop it.
You know what? It's a very good point. That's what you have to do against INnoVation. He's just like the best of macro Terrans at TVZ, so you can't really play him completely straight up there. But to the point of what you said during the game there about Life and how does he do it? How does he do it? He is the only Zerg in the world that will always get his Lings in your base. He'll always somehow catch you off guard. And the thing is, it's not like INnoVation doesn't know that. It's not like he's not looking for that, but it still works.
It works anyway.
Every time.
Yeah, he always gets into the base every single time. He has just this inherent understanding of timings, I feel, in ZVT that is just a step beyond everybody else. He's able to catch every Terran as they're preparing for something dangerous, and is able to just completely disrupt it. And at that point, the game switches over to him. It's his play. He gets to do whatever he wants. The Terran is on the defensive, and Life's just endless aggression kicks in.
It's a crazy thing to see, but he makes it work. Life is one of these, like, 1 in a million Zergs, man. Like, we had a few of them in StarCraft 1, and I would say even less in StarCraft 2. He's like a July Zerg type, right? He can do everything, but he makes aggression work that just nobody else can, and, you know, I think that's why he's one of these huge fan favorites.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that. And even though Life was certainly tripping over himself in the GSL, he wasn't today. No doubt about that. He figured out what INnoVation was up to, and he was able to shut it down in the last 2 games there. Just perfect timing that INnoVation was not ready for at all. And the Roach follow-up was great. Roach Baneling just to finish him off, and hell, you know, still got to give credit to INnoVation. He almost held it, and I don't think any other player could have said that. Almost holding it until that one Baneling detonation just completely smashed the house of cards.
I actually thought he was going to hold it with 3 bunkers, and like then some of the Banelings actually hit the Marauder after the bunker exploded. I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is going to go well for Life, but you know, Life always finds a way, as I say.
He does. He absolutely does. And usually that way is into a Terran's main mineral line, which is never really what you want.
It's normally up the ramp is the way that he finds.
Pretty
I don't
much.
know how he finds it, but okay.
I don't know. He is a champion when it comes to that kind of stuff. Okay, folks, we are setting up the next game, and if you thought this one was good, you ain't seen nothing yet, because Flash takes the stage, and he takes the stage alongside a Pro League rival, and one of the best Protoss on the planet. It's gonna be Flash taking on CJ Enter's Hero. It's gonna be incredible. They're currently doing their vetoes at the moment. We're gonna take a short break, hear a word from our sponsors, and of course, when we come back, we'll be bringing you the next best of 3. There are 4 more best of 3s coming in tonight. If you're disappointed that INnoVation lost, don't worry, he's not out yet. He has another chance to stay in this group. This is the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational, and we will be right back.